Alright, good day people. Welcome once again to HIT Codeworks, and today we are going to be looking at a little something on JavaScript. We are going to be talking about how to build a simple calculator in JavaScript. We're going to be looking at how to write the code from the scratch. We're going to use HTML and CSS to style a simple calculator interface and use JavaScript to add some kind of interactivity to it. Okay, so before we go into that, for those of you who do not know, JavaScript is an object-oriented programming language mostly used for adding some kind of interactivity to web pages or websites or web applications. Okay, so it's also popular for being the core language used for developing libraries like Angular.js, the AngularJS library, the React.js framework, the Node.js, and so on and so forth. Okay, quite a good programming language to know. All right, so first of all, before we start writing the code, what you will need to go through this tutorial or through this simple project will be simply your browser, in my case Google Chrome, and then a simple code editor. Notepad++ is a good one, VS Code is a good one, Sublime Text is a good one. They would all work. So just open up your favorite code editor and you have a browser, and let's kick this off. All right, first of all, let's look at the outcome we are looking at achieving. So first of all, what we'll have is something simple like this, a simple calculator. I can go 89 multiplied by 6 or whatever equals to 534. Could go 2 plus 3. Okay, you can clear, of course. You can go 2 plus 3 equals 5. All right, so that's what we are looking at. All right, let's write the code. So first of all, you open your Notepad++ or whatever editor you prefer, and then first things first, let's build the interface using HTML and then style it with CSS. So very quickly code along. So this is my HTML, first HTML tag. Don't forget to save your file. This file is saved as calculator.html. So save your file in a location you remember. Okay, so we have the HTML tag here. All right, so we close our tag, very simple one, and then as usual we have the head tag. If you are familiar with any kind of web development, this is the easy peasy lemon squeezy part. All right, so we have body tag. So follow me, I will explain the code as we move along. All right, this is a simple HTML tag, our head tag, and then our body tag, arranged exclusively in this order. Okay, so now let's go. So first thing I want to have is a simple title at the top that says calculator. So the h1 tag will do that. I'm gonna close the h1 tag, and here we have calculator. Okay, so now to build the body of the calculator right now, okay, we are going to do this. We're going to say we're going to create a div for that. This will be a div. The div name, the class name for the div would be, let's just call it our form. Let's just call it calc body. Okay, so the div opens here and then the div closes here. Okay, so this is a div named calc body, this is a div named calc body, and then inside it we are going to have the form that holds the calculator. Okay, so we're going to call this is going to be a form. We're just going to name it form1, call it form1, then the form tag closes here. All right, so we have the HTML tag, the head tag opens and closes here, the body tag. Then inside the body is where the calculator happens. All right, so the h1 tag is for the heading. We can bring it to the center by saying align center. All right, So we have a div called calc body, then we have the form inside the div. All right, first things first, the result output for your calculator result will appear in an input tag which is inside the form. So we call it input. Okay, the ID, since it's a calculator, let's just call it calc. The type of data this ID will hold. So the type attribute or the type property holds the type of information this input will hold. So it's going to be a text. So our result will appear as a text. All right, so we give it a name. This name will help JavaScript interact with it. So the name is going to be answer. Right. So the name of the input tag is answer. So our answers appear just right here. Okay. Now to go to the next line, we can use the BR tag, which is simply line break in HTML. So we go BR. We use the BR tag here. And then next, let's start arranging the buttons. Let's start arranging our buttons. Now each of the buttons will also be an input tag. Okay, to be an input tag with type. The type, of course, your guess is as good as mine. Button. Since it's a button, the value it will hold, that's the value it will return when clicked, would be 1. Then the JavaScript on click listener will enter there. This is JavaScript on click listener. This decides what happens when you click the button. Okay, so what this button when clicked would do would return form 1, that is this form right here, okay. Inside form 1, the answer, right, which is the name of the input tag, dot value. This is the current value, okay, on this answer is what it will return, and then it would add this plus equals. This is a way to just add 1 to it. Good. Simple. All right, so this is for our first button. Now this hasn't taken shape properly. Let's see what we have for now. Let's open this right here. So you notice we just have this and a button. It's not styled. You see, it's not styled at all. So that's what we've done with this code right here. So this is returning this. Assuming this was 2, it will be returning 2 on the answer. So we've achieved that. Now the next thing we'll do is, if you are using Notepad++, please replicate this line. Hence, I would not want to type this repeatedly. So we just repeat this into, hit Ctrl D if you're Notepad++, and you will get 3 lines that look like 3 extra lines that look like this. Okay, now this would hold the value 2, this would hold the value 3, and then this will hold our plus sign. And of course, this would return 1, this returns 2, this returns 3, and this returns the plus sign. So basically, the building the string that appears on the answer box, okay, or the answer input tag, and that is this. Okay, let's refresh this. And notice we have 1, 2, you see, and then plus is added here, and so on and so forth. So let's move on. Okay, now we've done this. We've done the first line of buttons, and we want to change line twice. So we add the BR tag. BR here, BR here. So we move to the next line to add the next line of buttons. So we copy this. Obviously, I'm too lazy to retype, like I said. So we copy this and paste here, and then we'll do the same thing all over. That would be 4, 5, and 6. So button 4, button 5, button 6, and at the ending we have the minus sign. So this would also return 4, also return 5 here, return 6 here, and then return the minus sign. Now if you are wondering why it doesn't look like the one I did not that I showed at the beginning of the tutorial, don't worry about that. We are still going to use our cascading styling sheet to actually do this properly. Okay, all right, so let's continue. All right, so we're going to use the CSS to actually style it, put in all the color, the transparency effects, and what have you. Okay, so so after the next line we put 2 line breaks again. BR, BR, oops, BR, BR. All right, two BR tags, we go to the next line, and then we repeat for 7, 8, 9, and then multiply. So this would hold 7 here, 8 here, 9 here, and then multiply. The multiply sign. And when they are clicked, they will return that same information. This will return 7, this returns 8, this returns 9, and this returns multiply. Okay, I hope you understand what I'm doing so far. All right, as usual, we add 2 line breaks here also. Go to the next line again, and then this time around we are going to be adding the rest of the symbols. Okay, the rest of the symbols, and then the 0. Okay, so I will do this here. Oh, sorry. All right, so we are going to add the same input here. So now that we've done this, this would hold the divide sign, which would represent with a slash, when this would hold 0, and this would hold decimal place, so that we can also do calculations for decimals. And then their on-click listener will equally return the values they hold. This returns 0, this returns a dot. Okay, the next input here would be the equal sign, right? Equal sign. Now this equal sign is going to be doing something interesting. It's going to be using a function we call eval, the eval function in JavaScript, to perform the calculation and return the final answer. So we are going to, let's just copy one of these inputs and then add the equal sign. Okay, this is the equal sign. So it's a button, it would contain equals. Now what it does will be a little bit different from the other buttons. So what you do is, our form, remember, which is, we called it form 1 dot answer. Okay, I told you, I've explained where answer came from. That is this particular component here is named answer, so it can be referenced by JavaScript using answer. So form dot answer dot value. Now what will be returned is not just going to be the equal sign, is going to perform a calculation using the eval function. Okay, eval function evaluates a particular calculation. Okay, you can look up any JavaScript documentation. Eval function performs a calculation. For example, if I have 2 plus 2 inside here, it does the calculation. As a string, if I have a string 6 plus 5, eval does the calculation and returns it. So what eval will probably do is, whatever we have in the answer box, the evaluation we have in the answer box is going to perform the calculation and return our answer. Okay, so eval is going to take our form 1.answer.value, our form 1.answer.value. All right, so now we've seen how it works. Let's see what we have so far. Let's see what we have so far. All right, so let's change let's put the BR. Okay, so let's see what we have so far. So we have all our buttons done, and it will reflect here. If we refresh this, we have everything. So the styling is what it remains, +3 equals this. So it's doing our calculation already. So we just need to add the button for clearing and then style it properly using CSS. Okay, all right, let's do this. Okay, so the clear button, or the button that cancels or clears out the entire answer area, the answer input area, is also going to be a button, of course. So let's just copy another input, paste it here, and then the type is button. The value this time around, you have a text on it that says clear all. Okay, clear all. Then when it is clicked, all it does is to just clear the text, every text on our answer output. Okay, so that would be form1 dot answer dot value, which will now be equal to an empty text, equals to a simple empty text. Okay, the ID for this tag is going to be clear. We're going to simply use this ID to style it in CSS. Okay, now that we are good to go, let's see what we have before we go into the styling to make everything look just a little bit prettier. All right, so we refresh this, so we have a clear button, so now we can type 23 plus 3 and we have our answer, but we can also clear. Okay, we can clear. We can say 6 divided by 2, we have equals to 3, and we can clear. All right, now, so let's make this look like a proper calculator now. That is where the cascading styling sheet comes in. That is our CSS language. We're going to use it to make this look a lot prettier. All right, let's go. So first things first, in this same location where I have my calculator.html file. All right, so let's make everything look a little prettier using our cascading styling sheet, our CSS. All right, so first of all, I'll create a new file. All right, I'll say open, save the file as, save as. So this is the same location where I have my HTML file. So I'm going to create a new folder there, name it CSS. Right, then inside it I'm going to have a style.css. Please, the location of this file is very important. This is my calculator here, the same location where I have my calculator, right? The same location where I have my calculator. This is my calculator file, this is the CSS, then inside it I have the CSS file, style.css. all right, very important. All right, now let's write the CSS and style our calculator. All right, first of all, the body, I'm going to style the body. The body is going to contain, let's give the body a background color. So we go background color, and our background color is going to be whatever you want it to be, but we're going to use honeydew. This one good thing with VS Code, I think VS Code will show you the colors, all the predefined colors that you could use. Okay, but honeydew would give us this effect. Let's see what honeydew does. First of all, let's link the CSS here first. Okay, so we link, so we use the link tag. Please don't forget the link tag goes inside the header tag. So I say link, first property is rel, which is equals to style sheet. So we are linking the style sheet here. Okay, so rel equals to style sheet, then the href, which is the location of the style sheet, which will be css slash style.css. okay, hence if I open this, there's a folder here called css, inside it there's style.css. so that's what we have. So let's refresh and see the effect. So you see the background color has changed. So that's the first thing. So we're going to bring this to the center and then do other stylings for the buttons and the input tags and the answer tags and so on and so forth. All right, let's do that. So back to see, we just wanted to make sure the styling is effective. So this is the honeydew color. It's now in our background. So now next step, let's style our h1 tag. I think I have just one h1 tag there, so I could just say h1. This would be let's just start with text align first. So text align is going to be center, then our padding, that's internal spacing, will be 23 pixel. Okay, then let's give that a background color too. Background color, that would be, let's go sky blue, since that's what in the example we demonstrated. The color, that's the color of the text, will be white, or let's leave it as black. Just leave it, the default is black. All right, so now the next thing is, if you notice, we have this button here. We called it clear, ID clear. So to style it here is going to be ID hashtag, a hashtag sign, then clear. All right, let's finish up the styling quickly and see what we get on the interface. So we have the width. Let's make it a bit bigger than other buttons. Let's give it 270 pixel. 270 pixel. Then we go border. Let's say 3px. Give it a solid color, solid gray. So there'll be a solid gray border around it. So we have border radius. Border radius here is going to be, let's say, 3 pixel. Good. Then padding, we're going to pick padding to be 20 pixel. Of course, you can adjust all these settings to a limit that suits your taste. I don't want to get the calculator styled, so let's give it a background color as well. Our background color here, we're going to give it an RGB value. The RGB value is going to be 233, 102, and 102. So RGB simply means a combination of our three major primary colors. By the way, just something noteworthy. I'm sure we are aware that the red, green, and blue colors can actually form any other color in this entire universe. Interesting, isn't it? So red combines at a value of 233. This one combines at a value of 102, and this one 102. That is green 102 and blue 102, red 233. Hence the RGB value. Okay, now we have that. Now we have the RGB value set. We are going to now look at the next important one to style is this, our calc body. You see the class calc body. So because it's a class, the CSS for it will start with dot calc body. Of course, you can name your class whatever you want. You can name this your class, this calculator body. You can name it whatever you want. Okay, but just make sure that whatsoever name you give it is represented appropriately here. So let's style the body of the calculator. All right, so we'll give it a width. Width is going to be 300 pixel. You can set it to whatever proper width you want. That's the width of the calculator. Then the height, let's go with double the width, 600 pixel. Then margin, that means margin is actually external spacing between that property and any other thing that is neighboring to it. Okay, the margin will be generated automatically, so that's automatic based on the size. We have border. It will have a border, of course. We are going to go with 3 pixels still. Okay, solid sky blue. So that will be a border around the calculator body. Solid sky blue. Okie dokie. Our border radius is going to be 5 pixel. Our border radius is going to be 5 pixel. Okay, then lastly, let's just give it a padding. That's internal spacing. That's the padding, the internal spacing of the components inside it. Let's say 20px. I think we are good to go. Then our input tags, let's say input. They will all have the same styling, every input tag. So no need for the hashtag or the dot. So we're just styling every input tag. Okay, which basically would be styling our buttons, etc., etc. So the width will be 20 pixel first of all. Width 20px. The background color, our background color, of course you can put any color of your choice, but I want my buttons to be black in color. if you use VS Code, it would really give you an option of a lot of colors that you can visually pick one. Okay, so background color. So because the background is black, I can now comfortably make the text on the buttons white. That's the color property. Color is white. Then our border is going to be the same 3 pixel, but this time around we have a solid gray. Okay, then border radius can go for 5 pixel. Border radius can go for 5 pixel. Then border radius would definitely affect the shape of the component. Okay, border radius will go as 5 pixel, and then padding stays 26 pixel. So padding 26 px. Margin as usual 5 px. Not as usual though, but for the buttons. Okay, then a font size of 25 pixel. That means the buttons, the values, the text written on the buttons will be 25 pixel. You could make it bigger if you wish to. All right, so the next is we're going to style the calc property. So this is our calc. Remember, we have this input tag here. That's the answer. The ID is calc. Don't forget that. So CSS will use this ID to style this field where answers appear, where our answers appear. All right, let's do that. So that would be hashtag calc. All right, so what do we do with calc now? We are just going to give it a width. So it's going to be wider than the other inputs. Now remember, it's also an input, but because its ID is styled, hence the hashtag calc is going to override the one the regular inputs use. So we have border 5 pixel. We need a solid black, so there's a black border around it. Border radius remains 3 pixel. Border radius. Remember, border radius affects the shape. So border radius 3 pixel. And then lastly, we have padding and margin. Padding is 20 px, and then margin. Let's make it automatic. It's automatic margin. All right, let's see what we've done so far. So if I come back here and I refresh, bam, styled completely. Okay, this might not be long enough. Let's make it a bit longer. That's the calc. So we can just say width. Let's go with, let's see what 300 looks like. Let's see what 300 looks like. Oops, sorry. Sorry, let's do this again. Full file path to clipboard. We place this here. All right, so this is it. So 300 pixels seems to suit it a lot better. We have the equal sign here. Okay, it's not aligned properly. Let's make this a bit wider. Let's drop this and make it a little bit wider. I think that would help. Okay, let's make it a bit wider. So we go to the border of our calc body, the height. Instead of 600, we can go for 630 pixel. And when we do that, observe, it gets a bit longer. Okay. We would also need it to cover and get to the clear all. So the sizing basically is actually up to you. Okay, so let's move it. So we can say 660 pixel, and then here we have this. Still needs to get long enough, I see. So we go 700 now, and that should do good. All right, so you can arrange your buttons in whatsoever manner you so choose. But here we have 12 plus 3 equals, oh sorry, clear all, 65 plus 3 equals 68. We can clear all like this. We have 78.9 multiplied by 6 equals, we have a decimal. Okay, we can say that we can also clear. So whatever calculation we want, we can go ahead and do it. Now you can also extend these styles, add 3D effects, or make your CSS style is a bit more appropriately. Or basically you get the idea of how to use JavaScript to create simple basic calculator. So if this video was useful, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Your comments are very welcome in the comment section, and any confusion would be gladly cleared. Thank you so much, and do have a wonderful rest of